Hello, everyone.
Oh.
Yep.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Troy. Yep. Great.
Hello,
We just set things up, and so far we have
Cannibal.
zero dead dropped frames, so it looks good so far.
You join us as we are discussing Cave Geek Arts Pizza
And
and
Right.
where in the world is
yeah.
it? Because it's not
Right.
in his house.
Pizza.
And
It just
welcome,
occurred to me that
Bobbicus. Thank you.
if you make a homemade pizza,
hmm
you could use it as the map for your gaming session.
No,
And
this is not one of your funky fantasy mapping groups that you're in, where people are just pulling up all the weird and wonderful. Oh, this could be a map. A pizza. Well, I suppose a pizza could be a
I
map, but
taken
no.
pictures of pancakes when I made them in or crepes in my frying pan because they had like the patterns, and then I
right,
used the contrast enhancement, and I got like islands and continents
I
from
did
it.
it. I did it with pasta once as
hmm
a joke. I
Yeah.
had I had
But
like a bowl, an actual bowl of pasta that I
hmm
was eating,
Yep.
and it had all the whatever bits of bacon and whatever
Yep.
on it, but mushrooms and
You can find natural
I made a map.
fractals. Yep. Hi, Jaspinder. Welcome. Oh,
Hello.
wonderful from Germany. Welcome. Yeah, that's great. I hope it's not too late. Well, it's kind of middle of the night for you. So yeah.
That's going to be getting on a little bit over there, right?
Yeah. So great to have people from overseas too. Yep. And we are kind of three transplants here, meaning Fear is originally from Israel, and Alyssa from England, and I'm from Sweden. So we are kind of
There's a
yep.
theme there that we could capitalize on if we ever got into business together.
Yeah.
I don't know what we'd call it, but
Yeah.
asylum maps. I don't,
Yep. Maybe expat maps or something. So yep.
Expat maps.
expat maps could be.
That's what fancy people who don't want to call themselves immigrants or refugees, that call themselves expats.
Right.
Yep.
Refugee maps. I feel like that's maybe a bit of a slap in the face of actual refugees.
Yep. Oh, boy, Jones. Jones. No.
Internationally wanted
Yep.
maps.
No, actually, yeah. The things that Alyssa is working on is a map, a city map of the city of Womtham for Greyhawk that will be coming to Greyhawk Online. I
Yep,
don't know
that
how
way.
soon, but
Yep,
when
over
it's
there.
done.
I think they go 4 times a year, right? And
Yeah.
so I'm going to have it ready here in the next 6 weeks.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I
Cool.
think probably their fall
hmm
episode edition,
Yeah.
their fall edition. This
Cool.
map's going to be in it,
Yeah.
fully colored.
Awesome. Yep. And
Cool.
today I'm working on my 598 map. I'm adding the hex layers, so the 12-mile hexes and the 30-mile hexes. So I'm importing them and adding them in, and we'll export them out as PDFs too. So a new PDF. So that will be a public preview that will be technically complete, so to speak. There might still be a little bit of issues here and there, and that needs to be fixed. But
Oh, my pizza is being baked finally after an hour.
okay, yeah. Oh, thank you, Troy. Thank you so much for advertising on
Um,
my behalf, of our behalf. That's great. Thank you. Yeah, we're getting things set up here, and so far we have zero dropped frames, so it's working at least this far. So that's good. Hi, Phantom Jen.
Hey,
hey,
Phantom
Jen.
Jen. Jen, thank you. I got the Necropolis today, and it's gorgeous. I didn't expect to get one at all. It was a real surprise, and it's beautiful. And yeah, very,
Oh,
very,
that
very
that
happy with
that
how my map turned out in there.
that pretty hardcover book that I saw.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
nice.
the black leatherette type
Yeah,
thing. Yeah,
leatherette does not yet. That sounds kind of a kinky.
Yeah.
black leatherette. That's my name in other
That was your dancing
enterprises.
name.
Well, thank you, Troy. That it works. That's good. Thank you. Yep. Now I just need to make sure that the hex layer is actually matching up to the underlying layer. So I just need to zoom in here and take a look at the pixels. Oh, come on. It's getting a little bit. There
Let's
we
see
go.
if I try to switch my camera. Ta-da!
Oh, there
I
you
guess that
go.
works.
Perfect. Yep.
So,
And we can also do this if you want to see. Oh, hang on a second. That didn't work properly. So hang on a second. Let me just fix that.
oh, you're sharing your screen to make. Don't worry about that.
Oh, it's okay. I can fix it here. So there we go.
Well, that looks like a first screen right there.
Yep.
God, that's
I'm sorry,
gorgeous,
guys,
man.
that
That's
this is
awesome. What is that?
That's the only pseudo topographical map I ever made. That's the Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild map.
What about the
So,
Greyhawk map? Wasn't that pseudo?
No, because that one was isometric. This is like
Oh, okay.
straight top down.
Yeah, I really like this one. It's super cool.
Because the game map was like this,
Mhm.
right? So I tried to
Yep.
replicate that, but
Awesome.
I really like that one. I don't think I've
Thank you,
ever seen that
Jasper.
one.
yeah, maybe not. It was a commission. When did I do it? I think it was 2020. No, wait. Yes. Yeah, it was 2020 because I remember making it and being like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna get this done and go to conventions and it's gonna be super popular." And yeah, what
So,
conventions?
have you been surprised of what sells or what not sells, so to speak, or?
Yeah, you never know. Honestly, it's you could sell. I mean, there are some things that are always popular,
Yeah.
like Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth or whatever.
Yeah.
But you really don't know. Like for example, I expected the Greyhawk map to sell like hotcakes at GaryCon,
But it
and
didn't.
it did not.
Uh-oh. Welcome, Darlene.
I have a bunch of them. Hey,
Hey, Darlene's here.
wait,
No,
Darlene?
Darling Creepshow.
Oh, Darling.
Yep. Mhm.
I was like, wow.
Okay.
Speaking of
Welcome.
Greyhawk,
No,
holy
no.
shit.
Unfortunately, would love to have her. We'll see if we can get her. See if I can. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so you never know.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have like a particular map that sells a lot at one convention, and the next week somewhere else, it's a different map.
Yeah, but since a lot of conventions are themed, so that can be expected. I guess.
I see, but it's not. Yeah, you'd think, but
Yeah.
that doesn't seem to be what drives it. It's
Well,
just the cosmic radiation from the Big Bang or something. I don't know what determines it.
Yeah, because GaryCon Greyhawk map should be popular at GaryCon, if anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No,
But to go to the whole Big Bang and cosmic ray thing, I mean, they had a weird location for vendors this last year.
That's true. You were
sure, but
yeah,
if I'm comparing it,
yeah.
If I'm comparing the sales of one map to the next sort of thing, then doesn't matter how many I sold, and I just
so if you sold 50 maps, you expected that one to be like half of them or whatever,
right?
And it wasn't. Right.
So I have a question. I told you ladies. I have a friend who enlisted me to help her on a project for a gift for another friend. And what we're doing is taking a map, a fantasy map from some TV show that I've not seen, and what she wants to do is basically create a 3-dimensional physical map, more so than what I do. Right? We could, in theory, I could make the map on in buckskin and all that.
Yeah.
But this is for like the whole thing is going to be encased in resin with some stuff in it. It's kind of an insane project. Ideally, what you would like to have happen is to have a CNC carve the map out of some material.
Yeah.
But in order to get that done, you obviously need to have the map 3D sculpted.
Mm-hmm.
And then at least saved in some format that a CNC can understand.
Yeah, there is a company, but before that, Troy wonders where can you get a copy of the Greyhawk map?
Where can you get a copy of the Greyhawk map?
Yep.
CaveGeekArt.com. And I've been meaning to actually do a sale on that. So before you go there and get too much of a sticker shock, let me.
Yeah.
And actually, can you bring it up on screen? Do you have a print of it there at all?
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
Yeah, bring it up. Let people see it.
Yeah.
I will. Hold
Okay.
your horses.
Yeah,
Well,
I'll
what's
wait
taking
and
you
then
so long?
show. Yeah, but
God.
there is a company that up in somewhere in California that they are actually making these kind of beautiful big 3D maps for museums and stuff. And they have a CNC that a special CNC machine that can can cut out from a like some styrofoam or some
Right.
material like that really well. And they also have an inkjet. They converted in some sort of industrial robot with high precision, put an inkjet the print head on top of it, so they can actually spray paint the plastic with high resolution inkjet. And it was like, yes, I would love to have that machine. And I contacted them, but it cost thousands of dollars for
Oh
each
yeah.
of these things. So they are like museum pieces and similar things. So it's like super expensive. So it's way out of anyone Greyhawk fans budget, I think. So, but it's the technology is there, but it's not mass produced. It's just custom, super expensive stuff.
All right. Ta-da! The Greyhawk map should be 20% off.
Okay. So do you have it on screen?
No, I don't. No, I don't. Hold on. That was
Yeah,
I
no
just
problem.
wanted to do
Yeah.
that first.
Yep. That's great.
Greyhawk map. Greyhawk map.
Hi, Wandering Endlessly. Welcome.
Greyhawk, where art thou?
So now I think it's time to save because I got my 12 mile hexes in here. Now I just need to get the 30-mile hexes on top as well. And everything kind of halts when I'm doing saving, and I know I should not start clicking on things, so yep. Yes, please, Jaspender, ask away. Yep, and here comes the Greyhawk map, so let me maximize the screen here so you can take a look. Oh, that looks awesome. I love the little heraldry on top too. That's so cool that you added that.
I love how much depth it's got, man.
Yeah.
Very unique style.
I was muted through this whole thing. Hold on.
You were. I was like,
we were waiting
this guy's
silently
quiet.
here for you to say something, and you didn't say anything. So okay. So
I was
please
like,
continue.
here's the Greyhawk map. And you were like, yep, there's the Greyhawk map. So I was like...
We were waiting for you to say something. Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, Anna helped a lot with this map, as I was saying. I'm trying to, I gotta kind of move it around so you can see all of it.
I'm wondering endlessly. I think there's some light color involved in Alyssa's hair when she's leaning over and drawing here. So yep, I can see it because
so
Anna
helped a lot with this, making sure that the details are correct and all the heraldry is what and where it needs to be, which is why Anna's little cartography guild thing.
Oh, that's awesome! Thank you.
Geographic Society, something like that, is down there. That's for Anna. And then I'll zoom in even more. I actually took the covers for some locations. I took the covers of what's his name? Jay Scott helped a lot with this, where he sent me the covers for the Castle Greyhawk module or whatever it was. Right. So I tried to copy. You can see the size. It's smaller than my finger.
Oh wow! Right? And you still got that detail. Is that hand painted on top of the?
Yes. Well, it's painted on a separate piece of skin.
Then
the original is old deer skin, right?
Okay.
So then I take a smaller piece and I burn and paint and cut it out and then glue it to the map.
Oh wow!
Let's see. We have There's a dragon right there.
Yep.
Green dragon. I don't remember his name.
Yeah, me. Yeah.
There's my attempt at least Caustochlorinos
or something like that. So, yeah.
The Temple
Oh,
of
Temple of
Elemental Evil.
Elemental Evil.
Yeah,
Yes and no.
and that's the moat house.
Yeah, moat house. Oh,
Right there.
wow. Yep.
Those are really hard because all the gargoyles and whatever that are on the cover of the Temple of Elemental Evil.
Yep.
There's no way I could do that. There's a black dragon over there.
Yep.
It's really fuzzy on my end, but I hope
that's
it's
so
coming
cool.
across fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's the crater. Where is it? Where is that crater?
There you go.
There
you go.
Right there.
Wow.
Oh, the stripper, Greyhawk's own stripper, the Doom Grinder.
Oh, there it is.
Right there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I guess size-wise, it's tiny stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, there we go. That's the Greyhawk map. This is a print. If anyone doesn't know, so my originals are made on deerskin by burning them in.
Is that a print? Oh, well, you're giving away
this is
the
a print.
original. Yeah.
This is a print. The original was the giveaway on Jay's channel.
Yep.
And so this is just a high-res photo. So you can't, when you look at it, when it's zoomed in, you can't see the edges that are paper.
Yep.
I mean, it looks like leather.
That's
and so
amazing.
the map, the original is three-dimensional because when I burn the skin, it shrivels, and I use that to sculpt it into a 3D surface, into a relief. And then I paint with natural pigments and bone tools. And yeah, that's it.
That's super cool. Thank you for showing that. That's so cool.
Thank you for asking. Ooh, my pizza is in quality check.
Yep.
After an hour of prepping, I expect it to be of superb quality. This better be like museum level pizza.
Yep, it looks like a pizza. Ship it to him.
Now I need to double and triple check that the lower part here is also. Yep, it is.
Did the pandemic, the current economic situation, have any impact on commissions? Meaning, are there less people commissioning or have lower budgets than before? That's really difficult for me to answer, but I will say this is a unique situation where the first commission I got in 2020 was actually because of the pandemic. The guy called me up and he goes, "Hey, my wife got me a little, a thing from you back in 2015. It was the first convention I ever did, right?"
Yeah.
And he's been keeping tabs on my maps ever since. And he commissioned me in 2020 to make him this map from the Worm Ouroboros. It's a fantasy novel from 1922. Apparently that novel inspired Tolkien in some way. Like, Tolkien talked about the guy who wrote it. I forget the name of the author at the moment, but Tolkien said that guy was an amazing world builder.
When you get Tolkien to say that, then
right?
Yes. Wow.
Yeah. So so he wanted me to make him that map, and he said the only reason he has money for it was because he wasn't doing any conventions in 2020, so he could spend that money on other stuff that he's wanted for years. So it was kind of like the opposite. But I only got that, there was only one of those. Would I have had more commissions were it not for the pandemic? Maybe. It's hard for me to tell.
I think from my part, I think it's been a slight improvement during COVID because more people have actually been home gaming. So, and also when you do like I do mostly digital maps, then a lot of people want their maps for their games and stuff. So it's definitely not been a downside for me with COVID. So it's been I think a tiny little plus, so to speak, a little bit of an improvement. But that's unscientific. It's just my hunch, so to speak.
And of course, with conventions being gone, then my sales of prints, most of my income came from selling prints at conventions.
Yeah.
And so that evaporated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, since I'm just sitting at home and patron and commissions are my thing that to publishers and stuff, and so that hasn't changed.
We've got those two deckled. We got now the Wheel of Time. this is another one that's a great example of heraldry and all of that.
Yeah, let me
There are
show it.
20,
Okay. Yeah.
20 different, so more than that. Let's see,
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. Yeah. This is the biggest private commission I ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a pain in the ass. I actually got to, it ended up being an officially licensed Wheel of Time map, and they got me in touch with Robert Jordan's editor, not his wife, but Maria something or other,
Yeah.
who was also one of his editors, and I got to ask her questions. And turns out, this is why I was insisting on Anna being the consultant for the Greyhawk map. Turns out that resources online or books, there's even a companion to the Wheel of Time or whatever it's called, Atlas something or other, that has various nations in their heraldry. Turns out there are blatant, flat out mistakes in that.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
In that book. And so she's like, yeah, that's garbage, don't use it. So having an expert, subject matter expert who could literally look at things and say, this is that, yes, this is correct.
Well, that's what you need. The same thing when I do my maps. You need someone who are expert at the setting, or and the best. That's why I love to map Greyhawk, because I have studied it for decades. But it's also great because I have a community of other people who've studied it sometimes longer than me and more intricate than I have. So that's
right.
the good thing. I have the best quality assurance team on the planet when it comes to Greyhawk, meaning the best minds, and that's really necessary to get the best results.
And one of the problems is when you make a map based on an author or whatever. This is where I learned that you look at this map and this huge area in the middle is empty.
Oh, okay.
There's really nothing there. Why? Because they never go there in the books. At a certain point in the books, they start traveling around with like teleportation through whatever, right? Gates, magical means. And so now you don't have to world build in those areas.
The ways,
so they did
ways.
The ways, that's right. The ways.
Not teleporting.
So how did they solve that when they
ways.
published the maps and books and
they're just empty.
So they
this is what's there. They're just like
okay.
some rivers and some green for forests, and that's it. There's
but
no names, no.
But shouldn't you just leave like empty skin there?
That's pretty much what I did.
Yeah,
right, in those
you filled
areas.
in a little bit. So now you see, now you got a world build, because now you have.
No, I didn't. I did not. No, I didn't change anything. The original maps, this is what they are, and it's just compared to. So I'm saying it's empty compared to, let's say, this area that has all these towns and cities and all the heraldry that's related to it. There was literally nothing for this giant area right in the middle.
Cool.
Just there's rivers out there and there's some hills and some forests, but there's nothing else.
Yeah, we have to welcome TM Syndicate raiding with a party of 3. Welcome. I think that's our first raid ever. Welcome.
Really? First raid ever?
I think so.
Holy
yeah.
Shit.
Hang on a second. Dual desktop here. So yeah, I think it's so welcome. I think it's the first raid ever. So yeah.
Welcome.
And Infernum Venom, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're sitting here working. It's me and Anna Meyer, and then we have Alyssa Faden and Kfir Mendel with Cave Geek Art. So he's working on getting prints and stuff done, and Alyssa's working on her Womtham city map for Greyhawk, and I'm putting the hexed version of my latest edition of the 598 Greyhawk map. So I'm fixing that. That's what I'm task right now.
So they gave me, I actually asked questions, what's there? And they're like, well, we don't know, because it's never written about in the stories.
That's so cool.
And then the customer was happy because it was a private customer who commissioned me to do this, but then a company that sold Wheel of Time merchandise, they contacted me and said, hey, we see you're making this map. We'd like to license it when you're done. So it was a win-win, because then they didn't have to pay for the original,
Yeah.
The customer got to, and he was happy because I got to be in touch with, because he was a mega fan, but there are things that even a mega fan won't know compared to Robert Jordan's editor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So being able to have contact with her and having her on call to make sure that things were accurate, he was happy with that. And she actually got me. I asked about climate because I like mountains with snow, and mountains with snow are prettier to put on maps. And so I asked, well, where would be mountains with snow? I need to know, and so and I even go into the details of, like, further the colder it is, etc., the more my trees get pointier, so they're conifers. And if you go farther south, depending on the climate in that world, right?
Yeah.
They'll be rounder. Maybe I'll change the color on them. And so I try to get into that little hidden detail that someone
cool.
might not notice. And I asked, and they're like, "Oh, we don't really know. There are some mountains that are mentioned to have snow on them, like the spine of the world over on the east side of this.
Yeah.
But otherwise, not really." So I said, "Okay, well," and what they sent me a Word document Robert Jordan himself made from his computer. They copied it and sent it to me. I'm not allowed to share it with anyone.
Yep. I'm just going to say hi, Justinius. Yep, welcome.
And it was a list of plants that he mentions in the books, and where they're, like, the page number and where they're mentioned, and the country they grow in, right? In the book, like in the world.
Yeah.
So he himself made a list for himself, I guess, of plants and what country they're mentioned to grow in the book. Cool. So I looked at those plants, and they were earth plants for the most part. So I looked at those plants and trees, and I'm like, okay, I try to compare, knowing what climate those trees grow in, right? I would try to say, okay, well, that birch trees grow in colder climates generally, so all right, I can kind of tell, all right, maybe there'll be snow on those mountains that are near that area.
Yeah.
But it was cool to have that from the actual author who's deceased. I mean, if I had that from Tolkien,
oh wow, yeah,
that would have been great. There's a lot of information from Tolkien, though. There's actually, my friends have a book with a lot of Tolkien's drawings, and there are topographic maps that he made, like actual topographic maps with you got the elevation rings and everything for mountains. And
I don't think I've seen that. That's
it'll
really
blow
cool.
your mind.
Yeah,
it's I would love to. One of my fantasies is to make another map of Middle Earth that's based on those drawings, so I can take the specific mountains and then translate them into.
There was a Middle Earth a DM project, meaning it was a Middle Earth real cartography project, Middle Earth, that started around year 2000. But they were, I think, it petered out because they were ahead of their time. They started a bit too early. The technology and computing power was not there to generate the terrain detailed enough. Now it is. So if you start now, you can definitely do something fantastic.
No, what I want to do is take his drawing, because he didn't do it, as far as I remember from the book. He didn't do it for the full world. He took specific areas, specific mountains, and kind of did that. And so I would love to take those and sort of translate them into what would that look like on an isometric fantasy map.
Yeah.
But now, instead of just kind of making up a mountain, I have a very detailed rendition of what that mountain is supposed to look like. So no one would ever know that I did that, but I would.
Oh yeah, but that's the important bit, is that you have to have more details than anybody else. It's like campaign planning. You should always have more detail than your players will ever, just a little bit more than what your players will even understand or ask for. That's when you have the right amount, so to speak. Now I'm going to do a big export of my hexed versions here. So and I have to export it into 6 different artboards, or like pieces, because the resolution is so high, so I can't export in one go. So I have to export 6 pieces and then put them together in Photoshop. And there we have. I'm going to put them in. I'm going to try art and see if that works. And this takes like 5 minutes or so for the computer to do it. So that's why I'm running my stream from another computer, and we still have no dropped frames today. So it's perfect. So Alyssa and Kvir, you need to be on every time, because when you've been on, we haven't had any issues. When I do it myself, it getting wonky after half an hour. Okay, there's some little. What is that? A dragon or something, Alyssa? What's cool is there? Hang on a second. Let me.
Yeah, I'm doing a little. I mean, look,
I'm going to
it's a
zoom in on
pixel.
your desktop here, so we see your desktop.
It's
Yeah.
a pixel on the map.
Ah,
Okay, I mean
okay.
this is.
Yeah.
But I like to draw. I like to draw statues. So I
I'll be
did
Oh,
back.
it's a
a.
statue. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Yep.
and so I did a
Hmm.
statue here,
Yeah.
guy
Oh,
on a
look at that.
horse,
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. That's awesome.
and just panning up
And you have an
here.
amphitheater and stuff there. So yeah.
Well, yeah, because
Well, they,
someone actually pointed out that there should be a couple of areas.
well,
This is
it's a
20,000.
wealthy part of Greyhawk, so they definitely have some cultural institutions and things. So that fits. I think that fits the scene. It's an established city and a fairly wealthy one, and so I bet they definitely have money over an interest in cultural infrastructure, so to speak, like theaters and stuff. Yep. Yeah, because my screen only shows a little progress bar here, so that's why we can look at what Alyssa is doing here, because that's the most fun right now. Yep. That is awesome. And also love your hand-drawn houses, buildings, because they look a bit medieval just by not having these kind of perfectly straight, squared, or like 90-degree corners and stuff like that. It's like anyone who's been to and seen medieval buildings know that at least nowadays they are not perfect, so to speak. They walls are straight and things are bent and so. I think they were better when they were built 500 years ago, but they are definitely have the kind of wonderful characteristics, so to speak.
Right, except that one went a bit too much. But yeah, no, you're 100% right. It's like, and zoomed in, it's imperfect, but further out, it feels hand drawn,
Exactly,
and
because
I
it is
want it to
hand
feel
drawn.
hand drawn.
Yeah, it is
I
hand
don't
drawn.
want it to feel precise. If
Mhm.
everything is precise, where I'm doing like this type of thing.
Oh yeah,
Well,
exactly.
now,
Then
now
yeah.
this feels modern, right? I mean
Hmm.
that's
Yeah.
a modern building right
Yep.
there.
Hmm.
I want my stuff to feel not
Yep.
modern.
Yep.
And so my hand drawn style is a big part of that.
Yep. That's great.
Those imperfect lines.
Hmm.
Like you say, it was probably more precise when they first built these
Oh,
little
I bet
watling and door
they were a
buildings,
bit
but
better 500 years ago, and then they've been kind of crooked, gotten more and more crooked over time. But they were not as perfect as today's buildings. That I'm pretty sure of.
have you seen have you actually ever had the opportunity to see Shakespeare's house
Oh, you mean the
over
new
in
theater in London?
no. Actual Shakespeare's house
No, I
over in
haven't been
York.
to. No, I haven't been to
Oh
his.
my
Yeah.
God. Talk about a house that is wonky.
Oh,
It is
yeah.
literally
Hmm.
like, as you're looking at it front on,
Yeah.
it literally does this. It's so, and the house next door is like, what the F, M8?
Yeah.
It's like, it's so old. It's so cool though.
Yeah.
I am back.
Okay. Welcome back. Yep.
Sorry, I'm gonna have to eat on stream. I
It's
did not
okay.
expect the pizza to take an hour and a half.
Well, it's Friday night, so yep.
Yeah, I forgot. The days of the week are meaningless to me.
Same here. I'm working. Sundays are usually my most busy day. With often I run games in the morning, and when they have stream in the afternoon, and we go grocery shopping and stuff like that. So Sundays are usually the most busy day of the week. And then
Tomorrow, though, I've got a little road trip with a bunch of friends. We're going to Chattanooga for a
oh
history
uh-huh
of fantasy art exhibit.
oh
at a
wow,
museum.
that sounds awesome.
Apparently,
Fun.
there's an original Frazetta there.
Yep.
I don't know.
I can't complain too much though, because I'm gaming with Ed Greenwood and stuff tomorrow. So and a whole bunch of other awesome people. So I can't complain too much. It's online game though at Lord Gasimba channel, but it will be fun
Right.
tomorrow night. So yep.
I would say gaming with Ed Greenwood is a bucket list item.
Oh yes, it's a bucket list item. So yeah, it's awesome, and yeah, it's our 2 drink minimum. It's an awesome group of fantastic D&D people. So yeah, and role players and stuff. So it's fantastic. So yeah. Well, yeah, Obsidian. Yeah, the old buildings were. I'm 5'10", and I have a difficulty getting into buildings that are hundreds of years old, especially when the buildings that were made for ordinary people, because buildings for nobility, they were like huge and tall and whatnot. But often they had taxes for in parts of Sweden, they had taxes for building height. They had taxes for windows. They had taxes for doors. They also had taxes for walls. So what a lot of poor people were forced to do was to dig out like a hobbit hole. So they dug into a slope, so they only had to build a front wall and a part of the roof, because that way not only they got cheaper, the building was cheaper to construct, but they also could cut taxes by doing it too, because it was considered subpar dwellings. And I bet it often were, because they were probably kind of a lot of water, humidity and stuff came in and stuff from the outside. But yeah.
It reminds me of the 80s when Thatcher reintroduced the poll tax to Britons.
Yeah.
That was a window tax.
Okay.
And it's like,
yep.
I mean, you've got to imagine this is like hundreds of years later, and
Yep.
it's like the
But
government
they're still
goes,
fighting over
"Wait,
it, don't they? In England, it's still there, isn't it? The poll tax.
it's still there."
Yeah. I know. I read
We
the
weren't
Economist.
happy about it.
No, I read the Economist, and he pops up every now and then. He pops up in some article, and they talk about it. So it's
What
Hundreds
is
of
it?
years after the fact, we were
Yeah.
like, "Wait, what tax are you reinstituting?"
Yep.
What is it? What are they taxing?
When you buy a property or something, then you have to. Well, yeah, Alyssa, you can explain your.
Well, it wasn't just buying. I mean, you know what it is, Anna. I mean, it was
Yeah.
just even owning a house.
Mhm.
You were now going to be taxed on the number of windows, effectively, that it had.
Yeah.
It's almost like the bigger the property, the more tax you're going to get.
So it doesn't matter. So if you live in a huge mansion but you board up all the windows,
Theoretically,
it was a bunch of. I think that one of the criticisms is not a modern real estate tax where it's based on taxation value stuff. It's based on old metrics from medieval times almost.
when people it would be lucky to have a freaking window, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've
Yep.
got your little hovel, you've got a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
you're getting taxed for one window.
Mm-hmm.
But in the modern world, I remember I had a little cul-de-sac house at the
Yeah.
time.
But
Well, it's modern, just building, two-story,
but
X amount
that
of
was on
windows.
top of the regular real estate tax
Yes,
too, right?
on
Yeah.
top
Mhm.
of the regular building
Yeah.
tax, exactly.
that is such bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yep.
well, yes,
they
we
didn't
were
want
very
to adjust
unhappy
the
about
real
it in the
estate tax.
80s.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't want to adjust the real estate tax. So they
80s
just-
and 90s, yeah.
Okay, now I need to look into open Photoshop and put together.
So I missed
all
your
the-
dragon, Alyssa. It's just when you were starting
Oh,
to talk
well,
about that.
Pedro, sucks to be you.
I guess so.
You'll have to watch the stream. No, I'll show
Oh, you drew over the. No, hang on a second. I thought those were roads, though gray lines, or are they just the guidelines, or
They're the guidelines.
Ah,
That's how I
gotcha.
do it, because it's all negative space. If I
Yeah.
turn them
Mhm.
off,
Yep.
right, it's a negative space that
Mhm.
creates my roads.
Yep.
But I like to have guides to
Yeah.
show me where I should be drawing those buildings.
Yeah, so you follow the.
I follow them, yeah.
Yep.
And Cave Geek, my friend, I got a little dragon statue right there.
Cool.
Wickle fella. He's about a pixel.
And
I'll zoom in. He's right there.
That's more than a pixel.
Well, okay, if you're going to be pedantic, well, actually, that's more like 20 pixels. Yes, on a
giving you
map
credit.
of 4,000 pixels. Correct, it is.
and I'm letting Photoshop work and blend all the 6 images together automatically. So I'm just using automate and import them, and Photoshop usually gets it right, which is to
And
me
I love that
amazing.
feature.
Yep. Yeah, it's fantastic when I put together, because I can't. Illustrator for some reason can't export the same resolution that Photoshop can handle. So Illustrator is still not up to par, really. So yeah.
Isn't it kind of weird that Adobe owns all of these properties And I'm not saying that they should all do exactly the same thing, but they actually do something so completely different than the others. It almost strikes me as a bit weird.
Yeah, but I think it came because Photoshop is something that Adobe built from scratch. But Illustrator is something they actually bought from Macromedia, I think was the company name. They bought it.
Oh, was it from Macromedia? Really?
Yeah, it's a blast from the past.
Yeah, so exactly. So and the funny thing is that they have, for instance, in Photoshop, when you resize something, the aspect ratio is constrained unless you hold down Shift. That way you can freely shift the sizes on the two X and Y axes independently, and they're not constrained. In Illustrator, it's the opposite. And it's like, come on. Meaning, there are two software that you often use. Sometimes you have to look carefully so you know which one you're working with from the same company, and that feature works opposite in the different tools. To me, it's like, oh, come on, that's like mind-boggling. They haven't fixed that in 30 years.
At this juncture, yeah, I feel like having a way of I've got a
yeah, meaning they should have the
light.
same keyboard commands in those two software and be talking about exactly the same function. Yeah. Oh, you catching some rays there? Yep.
Yeah. I just noticed what was going on.
Yeah,
there is a freaking
you have
beam coming
exactly.
through.
You have a beam. You have someone is putting a spell on you. So yep. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Or laser marking her for a smart bomb.
Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm. That's the fantasy version or the high tech military.
Jeez, don't turn around and let your glasses. If your glass lens hits that, you're probably blow a hole through your head.
Yeah, it depends on what game you're playing, so to speak, whether it's a spell or it's a laser thingy. That
Holy heck!
Yep, you have to follow that, trace it backwards.
Is that Archimedes? Was that his weapon that he designed? The ray, the death ray.
Archimedes. He was the guy that figured out that boats can float, wasn't it?
I remember even MythBusters even did an episode where they recreated the death ray. It was like a bunch of mirrors.
If you concentrate enough.
And he made it as a weapon against ships to burn ships.
Yeah, well, especially back in the day when there were wooden ships, then you could probably get away with it. Yeah. Today you have to use lasers to do that.
I don't remember what the results were, but there was. They got it to succeed to some degree.
Yeah, if both ships could sit still for 30 minutes or something, and the sun really shined and.
Right.
Yeah.
Though a lot of those myth busting things, I feel like.
Yeah.
They fail to think of the stuff of those supposed myths in context.
Yeah.
Where, look. You might think that it would take so much work to get done and all that, and how would they get accomplished? It's like, people built the fucking pyramids, okay?
Yep.
Like, it just.
Hello, Lando. Yep.
We're humans. We can do a lot with the backing of a rich king. You can accomplish a shit ton of stuff that you would never imagine.
The best thing I saw in MythBusters, they had one episode when they had a cement truck and they blew it up and it just disappeared because they didn't have a high-speed camera, so it looked kind of funny.
Right.
And they blew it up and boom, 1 second it was there, the next second it was gone, so to speak. And that cement truck, they really worked on it. I'm sorry, I'm boring and it's just progress bars here, so I can but it's. Yep.
You could show your progress bar.
Yeah, it's kind of, I need to show what I'm actually doing because this is what was on today's agenda, was to get the hexed versions of the 598 map assembled and out the door so we can take a look and see that they work too. So that's on today's agenda to do.
So Alyssa, with your programming that you're doing now, if I gave you the map, let's say, if I gave you a reference map that's like just an image, would you be able to create a 3D sculpted map of it with your code?
Yeah, in theory. So right now I can read, I can create and read a height map. I can create terrain from that. I want to get to a point where Anna can give me various images and say, here's the height map, here's the terrain
I have
map.
lots of height maps I can give you. So yep.
Here's the trees. Or, and if it's this shade, it's this type of tree. If it's this shade, it's this. And I have code that can read that and create a 3D terrain from it.
We're on a roll here, so to speak.
We're on a roll. We're on a roll.
Yep.
So in theory, that type of shit could be adapted.
Yep.
But the thing is, my code would need to be able to read something.
Well,
and
we can use masks or Splat Map for that. So you can either have a simplified image, you can either have a mask for each of the features, or we can have a Splat Map with simple colors that can be read by the software. Like and game engines have support for Splat Maps and masks, so that's something you can use. Now I need to go in and crop, so I crop away these white little features on the edges here. So
right, well then I may be knocking on both your doors when this project moves along.
So this is the 12-mile hex version. I just need to go over all the edges and get away.
12 miles?
Yeah, 12 miles per
Are you
hex.
feeling under the weather? Like what's going on? That's like cosmic scale for you.
Well, yeah, but there is like 95,000 hexes or something.
You run whole campaigns within just one of those hexes.
Oh yeah, I've right now I've done. We played 30 sessions and we haven't been further away than 3 miles from where we started.
Wow, that's just fantastic. Really, that just sounds such a fun thing to do.
Well, I deep dive into the story and the area and stuff. So we started. They were 0 level and grew up in the little village that I grew up. So to speak.
I mean, every campaign I ever played was these epic journeys from point A to point B, right?
Yeah, but a journey in a role-playing game campaign, in my opinion, is not the many miles you do. It's what happens. Each little happening is a part of the journey.
Sure, right. It's just that it was always you gotta travel to 2 months on a boat to get to the place where you're going to do the thing.
Yeah.
And we're not spending time necessarily, except for a few random encounters or whatever on the boat. But
if I had a campaign that did that,
I've never stayed. We had a couple of even a campaign recently that I played in, where it was a city campaign, and I would say 90% of it happened within that city.
Yeah.
Then we got on a ship and traveled literally 2 months at sea to get to this other place where we had to do some things to end the campaign. So there's always an element of these epic journeys somewhere. And I think it's very compelling to me to just start, middle, and end all within the same neighborhood, basically.
And if I did when I do journeys, then there will be like 4 or 5 things happening each day. So 2 months, that means that we will have like 300 or 400 different things happening. Either they saw things, some sort of a social encounter, a combat encounter, they're getting lost, they're buying things, selling things, and stuff like that. So that will probably take me 50 sessions, like a year, to travel.
Wow.
Travel that far. Yeah. But I'm obsessive like crazy when it comes to.
And you playing 2nd edition?
No, we actually we started with Pathfinder 2nd edition, but then we switched quickly. So now we actually play using a house ruled version of Advanced 5e. So it's from Ian World's level up system. It's a fork of the 5e rules that I'm house ruling. So I'm getting rid of classes and I'm changing the magic system a little bit and stuff. So,
oh wow, getting rid of classes. That's that's a whole new system.
Well, it's not a whole new system because combat works the same and stuff like that. So the math of the game is the same. So it's just that you instead of having to say that, oh, I'm a rogue, so I will get all these features as I level up. You can simply pick the features you like, but you have and you use your experience point as a budget, and then you have a
Mm-hmm.
prerequisite on each feature. So you have to know certain things in order to be able to learn that, and then it's the time to learn it and also someone to teach you. So you either
Right.
have someone there to teach you or you spend time figuring it out yourself, but that takes longer, so to speak.
Right.
And
That's
then
cool.
yeah, and then you have the prerequisites. So otherwise it's the same. It's just a matter of you can kind of puzzle together your own your own kind of custom class for each figure, and you can do things, you can specialize or broaden your skills as you go. And it's also easy to, you have to pick up things on the way, so to speak. So if you don't have, you never met anyone who can cast magic or teach you, it will be damn hard to become a wizard, so to speak, or a spellcaster.
Mm-hmm.
So you can kind of, you can, and Minnie, if you want to
Yeah,
learn to use yeah.
I'm with you on that. Hey, what's up, Lord Gasumba?
Hi Jay. Yep.
I had this happen. I don't know if I told you recently. At a campaign, I might have shared this story, and one of the players in the group is absolutely a power gamer.
Yeah.
Right? He will find the loopholes in the rules, the combos of abilities, of character classes that'll make him OP. And he started his career in the character, with level 1 as a rogue, got to level 3 and chose I think swashbuckler or something. And then after a few sessions, several sessions, he realized, I'm not really using the abilities of a swashbuckler, which is fair, right? And
Yeah.
so they kind of retroactively changed him to a arcane trickster, archer, I don't know what, something like that, right? I don't know what the official name is in 5th edition. And then at level 5, so he knew that he was only going to take this character to level 5.
Yeah.
That we knew the campaign is going to end shortly after we hit level 5.
Mm-hmm.
And so at level 5, he decides to go druid.
Okay.
Why? Because he looked at all the characters, right? All the classes. And if he just continued with rogue, he's like, I don't get much as a rogue at level 5.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
a level 1 druid gets me the most spell slots with spells that I want to use. And I was livid. I was really angry. Legitimately, it's one of the only times in 30 years of gaming that I got angry around the table at another player. And I got angry at the DM too, because the DM is very lenient and just lets everyone do what they want. But I'm like, I am in world. We've been, like I said, we were at sea for 2 months, and then we were on this island for the last couple of levels of this campaign. I am the only druid. My character was the only druid that he had ever encountered.
Yeah, and he didn't get you to train him, or didn't ask you
No,
anything?
and even if he asked, I would not have.
Yeah.
Because my druid was an old crotchety dick. He would not have.
Yeah.
So
but
my druid hated being a druid. He hated other druids.
Yeah.
So, well,
he
and
didn't want
really,
any other druids. Yeah.
It made me so angry. Like there's no logical reason at all for your character to become a druid. There's no way it would happen. And he admitted to doing it simply for power creep. Just.
And I want the flexibility, and I also want I want it to feel like D&D, meaning that the combat works the same, hit points work the same, and stuff like that. So but what I want to get rid of class as a mechanics, because to me it's not something that you will think of in game. Someone doesn't think of themselves, I'm a rogue class, or I'm a barbarian class, or something. It's like, or assassin or something. Assassin is a job description, not a set of game mechanics. I want to hide that mechanic, so to speak. It's
that needs to be on a T-shirt. Assassin is a job description.
Yeah, but I feel like it's and so I want to someone to say that, well, I'm a warrior for nation so and so, or I'm serving Lord so and so as something, or druid, meaning that's something that you belong to druidic order or something, and that means that not every druid is cut the same. Meaning some druids have more weapon proficiency, some druids have less weapon proficiencies, because they haven't. Some of them has spend, meaning you only have this much budget, so you can only learn so much, but it's up to you how you spend it,
Right.
so to speak.
Especially with druids, that's what irked me more. And it's not that he was stepping on my toes or anything like that because I was a druid. It was literally just that there was no justifying it in world at all.
Yeah.
And with druids especially, like if you told me that he was a warlock,
Yeah.
Okay, maybe the DM can say, hey, you guys don't know, but in behind the scenes he's been, hearing voices, right? Maybe sorcerer, you can just claim all of a sudden his powers are manifested.
Yeah.
But a druid is a very specific thing that involves, in any lore you can possibly find.
Yeah.
Even in D&D, right?
Yep.
It involves years of committing yourself to being an asshole, pretty much, and living in the woods and hating people and all of this stuff. You don't just pick it up while on a boat.
Exactly. So in my campaign in the future, when we gone classless, druid means that you have to study nature, you have to have a certain set of skills and abilities and whatever. Then you might get picked up by a druidic order if you have all of that, and if you're in the right spot, and you have all the prerequisites, so to speak.
Right, your resume has to be very specific.
Your CV has to be right, and you have to be there and talk to them and pass the interview, so to speak. That's the rule. But it depends on what role you want your game mechanics to, your style of play. In certain style of play, and like organized play and stuff like that, I can totally get it if you want and even need classes. So it's, but in my style of play, classes is more of a problem than an asset, so to speak. So that's why I want to
that's why that player is why in this new campaign that we started, I decided I'm going to play a rogue, and I'm going to show you how it's you want overpowered, I'm going to show you overpowered. And I started a level 1 rogue. We're now level 2, so I took a level in barbarian, and I now have, I can't even tell you the combination of abilities. This is just a level 2 characters in 5th edition. I'm not wearing armor, and I have an AC of 18 at level 2.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I'm gonna show you how it's done, kid, because he's a 18-year-old kid. They're like, man, I've been playing, I've been rolling dice since before you were rolling around your daddy's scrotum. I'm gonna show you how it's done.
Yeah, I was wrong before. That's awesome, Kfir. I was wrong before. This is 30-mile hexes, not 12-mile hexes.
Oh God.
Yep.
Who are you, and what have you done with Anna?
Yep. So this is 30-mile hexes. So I'm just looking over, and it looks good. So this one, now I need to export out the. I can kill off this one. I don't need it anymore. And then it's time to export the 12 hex version of things here.
Alyssa, how are you doing? Is the sun bored a hole in your side of your
head
yet?
How's your laser thing going there?
Doing fine, guys.
Oh, good. Yep.
She's focusing.
It's like you're anonymous because you're sitting still, so the blur effect blurs you out too, your face. It's kind of cool. Yep.
Can you do they have voice filters? You can have that deep baritone of anonymous
I'm sure put the
witnesses being
beard
interviewed
and really deep voice. Yep. Okay. Oh yeah, you're a tiefling now, so yep. Okay, here we go. Now I have the 12. Now I need to clean up my export thing here, so there we go.
Alyssa's focused on making tiny jigsaw puzzle pieces.
Yep. There we go. We have hex 12, so let's export hex 12.
You know, Alyssa, there are programs that can take a photo and just cut it into jigsaw pieces. you could have an extra level of Easter egg to your maps, where if somebody were to take all the buildings, they could compile them together into an image.
Yeah. Here we go. Yep.
That little stable connects to that palace.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, you gotta flip it around. She's not entertained.
Oh, she's busy. We'll see what. Let's see what Alyssa is drawing here. So let's zoom in on.
No,
Alyssa's
you don't
desktop.
have to. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I'm
I'll
curious.
zoom out when there's something to look at.
Oh, yeah, but this is cool because I'm just looking at my computer just freezes and I get the progress bar for 5 minutes. So it's more fun to see what you're working on. and yeah, that looks cool. So and
almost completed Womtham interior.
Yep.
Oh, that white spot is all that's left?
Yep. And then it's up to I might have this done this weekend.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yep. And then on to colouring.
Yep.
And the next Greyhawk map, and we need to figure out which one that's going to be.
Yeah.
A little village named Greyhawk.
I believe Anna's drawing Greyhawk.
Well, no, I want us to work on that combined in a couple of years or something to take it on. That will be.
I thought
fun.
you were doing it for your Kickstarter next year.
No, I don't think it's Kickstarter material for.
Oh, actually, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we should probably look into doing Greyhawk in a couple of years or something. I think that will be really, really cool to dig into.
How many people live in Greyhawk?
Depends. Some numbers say about 75,000. I probably want to, in my campaign, I put it more to like 250,000 or something like that, 300,000 or something. Because Gary's numbers, when you read the Gordon novels, you get a sense that it's a bigger place than that. So.
I ask because I don't know if this will happen. Luke Gygax has asked me to draw a city that of 1 million people.
Okay, wow.
In 3 parts, which I figured would be a full year for me to do.
Oh, we have several votes for blue in Pomage. That's a cool candidate. Yep. Okay, Phantom.
That sounded like cheese.
Yep.
Blue in Pomage.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea. That can be blue cheese from Pomage. Yep. Phantom Gen. Are there certain colors that must be used for Greyhawk maps? That's a good question. I don't think there's any specific Greyhawk colors, but I guess the colors depend on very much like what part of the world the city is from, so to speak. Meaning what type of building material is available and stuff like that. Or okay, OSE prints in certain colors.
May I suggest the color gray?
That's a good yeah. Yep.
Learning that OSE prints in certain colors. Oh, really? Is it just for the nostalgic feeling of it?
OSE, because you had like the blue maps and there were other kind of
like orange. And...
Yeah, exactly. There were certain limitations, both technical and for copyright reasons and stuff like that.
Sure,
back in the day.
But technology has improved since. So why are we doing it? Just for the nostalgia value?
Exactly. Yeah, there's still companies that do special blue series of dungeon maps just because it's nostalgic.
Oh, okay.
And it was originally done as a way of defeating copy machines. Yeah, divers is another interesting one. Yeah. And we have I'm sorry about Shitei or something. Yeah, welcome. Yep.
I guess it's kind of a dilemma of do you take a well-known, well-loved place that probably has already plenty of maps, but maybe you can do it better or different, or do you take a new place that doesn't have any maps?
Yeah. I think it's
for me that's not the concern. I can beat anyone out there except for Slay. To be pruning myself just for a little bit.
Except for who?
Mike Slay.
Yeah,
Mike Slay has done a couple, and they're outstanding. They're absolutely. I think he's actually done Greyhawk. To be
Do
honest
you have
with
any
you.
links to his?
I
To his work?
Um,
I don't think
Offhand,
he's done Hawkoch or Hook Hill up in that he did that one.
Anyone that Alyssa says is better than her.
Hmm. I hold you both in really high esteem, so I've difficulties saying which one is best. Yeah, Schley has a wonderful style, but so does in some ways, I think I like your cities better than Schley's, but Mike Schley is more versatile all across the board. Maybe I'm not sure. Yeah, it's hard. Anyone knows if Mike Schley have actually done City of? Oh yes, he has. Now I remember. Yes, he has. I think he has. Yep. He did a version. I think that was the same based on the TSR
Oh,
map.
he
So
did that one. That is his map.
yep. Mike
That
Schley, Forgotten Realms. Yep, that's
I
Mike
I have
Schley.
some words with. I need to have some words with him.
Oh yeah, yeah. Mike Schley have done fantastic
I
work.
need
So
to.
yeah.
That particular Northwest Faerun map pisses me
Exactly.
off.
Yeah, it looks
And I,
like Maldon. Yeah, Mike Schley did a Greyhawk map based off Maldon's Greyhawk. Yeah,
I
that is
need to
that
talk
show.
to him and understand. I need answers. I've got questions that need answers. Damn it.
Yep.
Whether really bizarre things that happen on this map,
Yep.
were they his doing or the doing of whoever commissioned this map, or because there are literally cities that move
Hmm.
hundreds of miles there from let's say the fourth edition D&D map of Faerun or the
Yep.
Sword Coast anyway. There's the roads, major roads has just kind of disappear.
Hmm.
So I'm like, what what happened?
Yep.
When I was doing my research for the Sword Coast map, I used that one as the base, but there were just things that were so bizarre. I had to.
But I know that some things move around simply because they need to fit on a book page or on a poster or something like that, and so they have to take certain artistic license and move things around a little bit so you can fit the
The
format. That
Barovia map.
I've heard of cases like that you have to kind of squeeze things in order to fit it because the product dimensions
Right.
requires it. So that's could be one reason, and then bad research or time constraints and stuff like that is probably other reasons for things to go haywire. So yeah.
The
Okay.
Barovia map, I played with that.
Yep. Now it's time to merge the other ones here. Yeah, I'm sorry that I'm doing boring stuff today, but I think it's important to show some of this stuff too, so you can see what we have to put up with.
Map of Grey. Oh, so he did do a Greyhawk. Let's see.
Yep.
The city of Greyhawk.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. Thank you, Mike. Yep. Yep, that's the one. Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't look at that and think even 70,000 people.
No, it's based basically on TSR's version of Greyhawk, which I think it's way too small and limited in scope, so to speak. The city, in my opinion, I like the Gary's vision in the Gord books much better. But the maps he had in the Gord books, it's a city that is I think 7 miles across, which is a little bit too much, and so I will probably reduce it to 3 or 4 miles or something like that across. We'll see, but so it will be some sort of slightly smaller than the Gord books, but much more in line with the Gary's vision in the Gord books. That's the kind of city I like, and I like the layout of the city from the Gord books way better. Yeah, I think you're right, Sute, that it's like 50 square miles something. So that which I think is a bit too much. So I want to reduce it a little bit from that. But the TSR map is too small, and also I don't like the city concept. It doesn't feel like a medieval city to me at all, or fantasy medieval esque city at all. It's I don't get that vibe from that map, and also it's not situated in its surroundings. The Gary's version of the map is much more, the city design is much more integrated into the terrain and so on. So I will probably, my idea will be to do like Gary's version, but a bit smaller, shrink it by 20-30%, something like that. From 56 to 30 square miles, maybe 15-30 square miles, something like that. And then make sure that all the points of interest and stuff. So if you have the box set, City of Greyhawk box set, everything that is in those box sets needs to be in whatever version of Greyhawk is being done. So you can take the box set and have all the locations from there should be present in the city, and also all the locations from the Gord books. And I think that's the kind of cool, a best of edition of the city. I think that's what I want to do. And then
so if you were to compare Greyhawk as a city, or well, not just a city, but the whole world, to a century here on Earth, what are we looking at?
I would say something between 1400, just before the invention of gunpowder. So something from 1100 to 1300 or something like that, in the 1300s.
So how many people? What was the population, say, of London in?
Oh, there are cities that were, meaning Rome back earlier times had more than 500,000. So you definitely had cities close to 1,000,000 people, meaning Istanbul and stuff were probably close to 1,000,000 back then. And London and Paris were probably the biggest city back then, and Rome before that had more than 500,000 people, I think, and Paris probably had something in many hundreds of thousands back then, and London was growing quickly to become the biggest city. But in medieval times, I think Paris was bigger than London was. Paris peaked earlier than London, I think. But I might be wrong. But
so even then, 750,000 would have been.
Oh yeah, it's been possible. Meaning that there were cities meaning if you take ancient Alexandria and ancient Athens were probably not that big, but you had cities that were big back in, and meaning ancient Rome was huge, had hundreds of thousands of people, and you had
then the Romans, it was a passing fad.
Yeah, well, they passed in 300 years something. So, and then you had.
I'm just trying to piss Alyssa off.
Yeah.
She's not. She's really focused. If I say that the Romans were just a fad and she doesn't say anything, then
the Ur had 65,000 people in 2000 BC. So and China had cities with hundreds of thousands of people, and then you had back in the day. Oh, now I forgot the ancient name of Istanbul. Damn, I should know that.
Constantinople?
Thank you, Constantinople. Yeah. So Constantinople had hundreds of thousands of people in old times, so to speak. Back. Yeah. Thank you, wondering. Yep. So I think there are precedents for having 200,000-300,000 people in a city like Greyhawk in a fantasy world. I think that will be doable. And you have Roxas in back in its heyday, the capital of the Empire of the Great Kingdom, and that one would probably have. I wouldn't be surprised if you had 500,000 people there. And some of the other ones have 100,000 or so. But population numbers have been iffy in Greyhawk because they were really, really small in the first edition, and then when the From the Ashes came out, they were adjusted up a bit, and then when the Living Greyhawk Gazetteer came out in 2000, they were adjusted upwards again. So this has been a debate back and forth in Greyhawk community forever, so to speak. So, and I think it's also up to what your vision of Greyhawk is. I want mine to be a bit more populated, I want the cities and stuff to be a little bit more impressive and bigger than they originally described.
I wonder what Luke is doing with 1,000,000 people city.
Yeah. 1,000,000, it's too much for me. I have no need of a city that big, but several 100,000, yes. And we have Rel Astra is another city in Greyhawk that was once for a while the capital of the Great Kingdom. So that one, it's a big port city too. So there is definitely a number of candidates for Radagast City is another one that I think is big. Divers, big. not as big as Greyhawk, but it was also a capital of the western part of the Kingdom of Ferrond when they broke off. Relmord is another one. So there is a lot of cities that could potentially be at least fairly big, like up to towards 100,000 or so. Yes, Stoink is another one. Yep, definitely. Yes, Troy, underwater cities, but that's your expertise. So you have to tell us what the biggest underwater city is and where it is and so on. Yeah, we're looking forward to awesome stuff. So, yeah. Okay, flatten image here. Moving forward here. So now everyone sees that there is a lot of tedious little doodles, and then there is a lot of this kind of waiting for the computer to do stuffs kind of thing too. So yeah. So I need to doodle something after this because this is getting a bit boring but necessary. So I just need to check that I got it. Yeah, it seems to have exported well here. So need to put it in. And so far we're good. We only dropped 350 frames in 1 hour and 20 minutes, so that's good. So it seems to work today. Now I just need to go in and crop the map here again. There we go.
Alyssa, what are you drinking tonight?
Oh, thank you,
This
Troy.
is just a little bit of Glenfiddich.
Yeah, you're sophisticated. I just have water in my bottle today. That's it.
It's not sophisticated, it's lush.
Lush. Classy.
Oh, well, isn't classy and sophisticated kind of synonymous to some degree?
I don't know. Maybe classic?
Yeah.
Classic doesn't necessarily mean sophisticated.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, the red box of D&D is classic. It's not sophisticated.
So here we go. Yeah, that's good. It actually works today. So now you realize that you need to be on, both of you, every time I stream, because then it works.
I mean, I am looking for a job, so
Yeah. Yeah, I pay a lot. I pay as much to you as I pay to myself for being here. So yeah.
excellent.
As like Jay said, that when someone said that, oh, how much do you can you pay a lot of money, when some guest asked for like how much they get paid, and Jay said, well, I pay you as much as I paid at Greenwood. I think that was an awesome answer. Yeah. And I need to trim the edges a little bit here. And this is why you need a fast computer, and I need a faster computer because there's a lot of wait times doing this, and it's a minute here, a minute two there, but if you add up over a day or a work week, it becomes hours of just waiting for the computer to get things done. Yeah, my computer rig here is, this one is an 8-core Intel Xeon something that I forgot now, that is 5 years old and has 60. This one I'm working on, the main computer I'm working on here, is 64 gigabyte of RAM, but it has a new graphics card, a 3080 Ti, so it's on the graphics side, it's actually up to date, but everything
You
else
got 64 gigs of RAM and a 3080.
Yep.
And it still lags for a minute or two?
Oh yeah, when I'm working on my big files and stuff, yeah, because I need more RAM and I need a faster SSD. It's a faster CPU because it's a 5-year-old CPU. So I
You
need.
just need like what they have in Cheyenne Mountain or something.
Well, if I had like the fastest Threadripper or the very latest 16 or 32 core CPU, that will speed up things, and a really fast
Sure,
SSD
if you
and
had
100.
$800 million, you
Well, I need
just
a.
pay somebody else to do it too.
Yeah, oh yeah, but I want to do it myself. I just want to have the computer to do it faster. So yeah. So I'm putting the budget before prices were up through the roof. So it was like $11,000 for a new computer, but now it's down to
Jeez.
like 6-7 thousand. So now it's starting to be feasible, maybe this winter or something, that I can actually get a new computer. We'll see what the budget can be, and if the prices can hold steady for a little bit. We need to do a little bit talk about our equipment and stuff in a future fantasy mapping show. We can take some pictures and talk about it more. So yeah.
That's not one you want me as a guest on. Here it is.
Oh, but
It's
you
a
can show
chunk of bone.
yeah, exactly. Some goat skins and some little bones and stuff.
Oh,
But
that's it.
yeah, but it
That's
looks
it.
super cool when you're doing that. Hang on a second. I'm going to
I
emphasize.
always laugh when people ask me, what about getting sponsors for your stream? I'm like, from who? From like
Yeah.
the Deer Association of North America? Like,
Well,
what?
yeah.
What am I gonna get from it? I don't use really anything anybody makes to sell other than the buckskin, and the guy who makes the buckskin
Yeah.
isn't gonna sponsor my stream.
No, Jasper, you're right. It's the second most popular setting in from Wizard of the Coast for D&D. So if you look at the all-time sales and stuff, but it's the oldest setting, so therefore it's kind of fallen on the wayside a bit. But there is a Greyhawk community, definitely, of thousands of people that put Greyhawk as the coolest setting. So yeah.
Greyhawk is the second most popular?
Yep. When it comes to
Wow.
overall sales, yep. Mm-hmm.
More than Dragonlance.
Yep.
More than.
Yeah, but not
Wow.
including the books, only the role playing
Right,
game
not
stuff.
novels.
So, exactly, not novels. But when it comes to the actual Greyhawk or D&D products, then it's the second best selling
I would
setting.
never have guessed.
Forgotten Realms is the most popular, and Greyhawk is second. And then
Now,
I think it's Dragonlance.
does that include modern sales of fan created stuff? Because they're not making any new Greyhawk stuff, right? So
No, they're not. But it included up until 2000, when then in third edition they kind of. But then they have
wow.
they have come out with updated books on Forgotten Realms. Mostly the other settings haven't been updated. They kind of fell on the wayside. There has been no new Birthright, no new Al-Qadim. Now they got.
Yeah, just Eberron.
Exactly, Eberron but Eberron never sold that well to begin with,
Right.
so to speak. So yeah, so it might still hold up even to this day, so to speak. But we'll see. Yeah. But if you include the books for Saltmarsh as Greyhawk, that gives Greyhawk a little bit of a boost. But Forgotten Realms is the giant compared to the other ones. So yeah. Okay, now I have 12.
And my least favorite.
No, it's not my least favorite by any. It's an interesting setting, and it's really.
Is it?
Oh yeah, it's an interesting setting with it's a full featured setting in a way, like Greyhawk. But the reason I love Greyhawk is not so much because of the setting per se. It's just that it was around when I started, and I'm lazy and I don't want to learn a new setting, so I'm sticking to it. So that I think that's one of the main reasons, because I don't know so much about all the other ones. So I can't say that Greyhawk is much better than so and so other setting. It's simply because I know Greyhawk, and it's good
Right.
enough, and it suits me, and that way I don't have to buy a lot of other products, and I don't have to read thousands of pages of something else in order to make my own adventures. So it's out of laziness and out of tradition. It's the place I know, so to speak. So, but I like to game and play in other settings, but I like to run my games only in Greyhawk.
Forgotten Realms to me just feels like a buffet, like a flea market of fantasy. Everything is there. Like
Yeah, but I think
it
that's
took
part of the
literally
idea.
everything and threw it
Yeah,
into a blender.
yeah, but the Greyhawk also have that. Greyhawk and Forgotten
Yeah, I don't know
Realms
much about Greyhawk.
have similar problems, so to speak. So if it's a problem with one, it's usually because they're both kind of fully featured but old traditional old style fantasy worlds, so to speak. They're not themed around something specific, so to speak. Yeah. So in that sense, I think you can criticize both Forgotten Realms and Greyhawk for similar problems, so to speak. And whether you see that fully featured standard old traditional old fantasy setting, some people see it as a good thing and others see it as a boring kind of you need to have a cool feature thing like you have in Dark Sun where you have the the kind of the apocalyptic kind of
Right.
post cataclysm
Right. I
so on.
prefer it, and that's what I prefer. Some sort of a theme
Uh-huh.
that
Yeah.
makes that
Yeah.
this makes that world distinct.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So and that's a really good point. It's like Ravenloft was very popular because it was focused, so to speak. And so I forgot I need to click on OK there too. So there we go.
Alyssa, did you finish the inside?
Yep.
Look at you, sneaky little.
Yeah. So do you work very systematically, Alyssa, or do you feel like now I'm done with this, now I want to do something else for a little bit? Like you do houses until they're done, or do you like work in one area and do whatever needs to be done there, or do you just go over a little bit here and there depending on how you feel?
No, I bounce. I
Okay.
bounce around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to bounce too. Now I've done more like housekeeping. This is kind of administration. I'm exporting, I'm putting together and stuff like that. Now I want to open a splat map and to just doodle for the remaining of for an hour or two just to compensate because this is necessary stuff, but it's also boring. And you also have to make sure you do it right, so to speak. So it's double checking, triple checking, and then press OK and then set it up and then the program does it, so to speak. There's no artistic part. What I've done so far in the stream is no artistic. It's just knowing what buttons to press in Photoshop and Illustrator. So, but that's part of exporting and putting the map together, so to speak. So it's important steps, but boring kind of steps. But that means that tomorrow or tonight, well, be tomorrow because I need to put together a little bit of writing and they need to be synced to Dropbox, etc. So tomorrow they will be. I will post them to my Patreon and patrons, and then I'll post. I will probably post it for everyone to see the first preview of the 598 map, the 2022, for everyone tomorrow, and upload them to Easy Zoom and stuff like that, and then leave them there for about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, to see if anyone reports any errors and stuff like that, and then I'll change the things that need people report typos and things, and then I'll produce the final versions with PDFs and all. And that's about 2 days of work like this. It's about 10 hours of export, import, assemble, and turn into PDFs, compress, and stuff like that. It's about full work days doing this. That's why I only do one edition update per year, because it's so much work. And then you have to put together a couple of weeks just doing it. So it's like a month or 6-8 weeks of work. So that's something I've done on roughly a yearly basis. But that's also why the map is as good as it is. It's two reasons. One is that I've kept updating it on a yearly basis for 10 years almost, and secondly, so many people have told me what's wrong with it. So that way I can improve it gradually over time. It's Womtham. It's city of Womtham in Nyrond. So Alyssa is doing it for Greyhawk Online and all the Greyhawk fans. So we're really looking forward to it. and it looks fantastic. Okay, now I think now I just need to check that I got that saved together. Then I can delete this one too. X12. Open up again. When you do this line of work, you have to look at the same thing over and over again in different formats and stuff, so it's a little bit boring. Here we go. Should be some 12 hexes here. Yep. I have to check they're actually there. And then I have to go down here to see if there's any bits and pieces that are, they seem to have come together really well. Yep, perfect. That means that I can kill this. And then I can go in and delete them there too. Okay. Now I can save this, and then I can open up my Splat Map and doodle in for my Shieldlands map a little bit. So Alyssa, how many hours have you worked on Womtham so far?
Good question. I actually keep a track of it.
Yeah.
And I'm probably at actually just about 26 hours right now.
Okay.
Including tonight. Yeah. So that's not too bad.
No, that's amazing that you've done that much in less than
26.
a week. 26.
26.
If you said 226, I wouldn't have balked at that. You're very effective that way. My technique is very tedious. Your technique is tedious. Mine is worse. I have more steps. You have one long tedious step or a couple of long. I have 4 or 5 really tedious. So it's kind of, yeah, it's really bad. But the fun stuff, after all our tediousness or stuff, it actually starting to look good in the end. That's the good part. So now I need to open here, and I can get my do my last Splat Map editing here.
Alyssa, when you draw those tiny houses, do you actually see pictures in your head of the people that live there?
Some of them. Little ones like this, these are shacks, so I just feel sorry for whoever's in them.
Yeah. Oh, now I.
But yeah, no, I try to. I think that's what separates me from a lot of cartographers out there.
I get completely immersed in my projects too. I'm like, oh, that is so cool, and who lives there, and what does that look like, and if you're on the canoe on that lake or that river, what would you see, so to speak, and yeah, I'm getting completely carried away with my project, so to speak. I think so that's
poor bastards are looking up and cursing Alyssa. Couldn't you draw me in the
yeah,
the noble part of the town?
Yep. See, you're a god that people pray or curse you or hate you or love you or whatever in the game world for. Yep, that's funny.
Yeah, I think we're getting close.
Yeah.
When is your Rome project coming?
It's coming. It's doing things.
Well, I totally get you. You have to. A lot of my projects are also kind of in the making. Some of them are in the concept stage. You kind of figure out how to do it. First, you have to kind of, okay, how should I start attacking it? What should I test first? And what are my goals, so to speak? What do I want with it? And then comes the phase when you actually sit down and, okay, how am I going to tackle it? And you test different solutions and figure out what workflow would work best, etc. Yeah, Ratic is Justinius. There's a lot of people have asked me about Ratic, so it's very high on my list. After Lendor Isles, I'm going to do Ratic. So I've already done some tests, and the first when I started working on Ratic first, I realized my skills and the software were not up for the job. Now I think both of them are very close to being up for the job. So Ratic is something I want to dig into fairly soon. So Ratic will probably be a test area for doing it. Instead of porta potty 1 pixel per 5 feet, I will probably map 1 pixel per 30 or 50 feet and see what that will look like. And that might be a good idea to have Ratic as a test bench for that, so to speak. That might be a test area for it. And I might do Lendor Isle in that scale first, because I realize now that with the rivers and drainage and stuff doesn't work when you work in so small areas. When you work with 15 by 15 miles at a time, that makes rivers and stuff really difficult. So that's why I'm going to see if I can work with 500 by 500 miles in a go instead, first at 1/10 the resolution, and then go in and do super high resolution in certain areas. So here I've done the opposite. I've gone deep in and done really high resolution first, and then merged them together. And then I'm going to do another test area where I would do the opposite. I will take 1/10 the resolution, do the overall map, and then go in and do the detail and see which one is the most effective, get best results, and which is the most easy way to work, so to speak. And that's the problem when you're on the bleeding edge of what's possible. You have to kind of figure out a lot of things yourself, and that's the tricky bit. It's both fun and annoying as hell at times.
One more print for tonight.
Yep. Let's see what I'm actually editing. Let's work down here for a bit. So I'm editing in little rivers and creeks and stuff. There we go. So I'll put in here. So, and this is building a splat map here.
Oh, crap.
Oh, cool. Playing with Carlos is amazing. Yep. I should probably do 2 pixels here to begin with here. And now I just need to trace the masks from World Machine. And the reason I'm not taking because there is I have a mask here, this one. So I have a mask here with the that World Machine has generated. The problem is that it looks so computer generated that I'm just using it as a guide, and then I'm actually hand painting in the final mask, because then I get much more natural looking result. And this is what they call a splat map. So it's it's just basic colors for different types of textures, and then I will import the splat map in, and I have shading on top. So if I remove the shading, it's just simple colors. So I have different blues for different types of water. I have brown for bogs. I have green for grass, and then I have the lighter green for short grass, and there will be green, different colors, green for forests and stuff. And then I can import that back into World Machine or Gaia and let the program analyze where the different colors are and assign different textures to different areas. And the main reason I'm using a splat map is that way I can redo the same area in a game engine like Unreal or Unity and that way, instead of having tons of different masks, I can just have one splat map that various different tools can read and interpret, and then put together different types of materials and stuff. So I will get short grass and bushes and tall grass and forest and water textures and stuff, depending on, independent of which tool I'm using. I can still get it to work, so to speak. So it is, I probably put together about 10 hours of editing this Photoshop, maybe a little bit over 10. I'm probably up to 10 hours now, and I have like 2-3 hours more to do when before I'm done with this. So I'm following this little creek valley up here. Oops. And now I'm painting. So when do you use masks, Alyssa, when you do that, or you just paint on an empty layer, so to speak? You just paint in black?
When I do what?
Do you use, for instance, here I use a mask. So I have a river, so I use a mask here. So the layer is actually all blue like this. And then I have a mask, so I'm painting white, then I paint in the color, and then I can just switch and paint black, then erases the color. And
Are
that
you
way,
talking about in my map that
yeah,
I'm drawing
like when
right
you draw
now?
yeah,
Or
when you draw houses and stuff, do you have like a black layer and then you use a mask so you paint in and off, or do you use the eraser?
I only use masks in certain instances.
Oh, okay.
On my regular ink work, I don't need to.
Ah, okay, yep. Yeah, to me it's so easy because I just have a button and I can just shift to black color and then I can just erase it. So
No, I don't need to do that.
oh, you see, you're
But
perfect.
I'm ink on paper. Remember, that's my background.
Ah, yeah. Well, yeah. So I base, yeah, Jasmine. Not everyone, but most of them, I actually go in and detail them in, because they're computer generated to begin with. But the problem is that they look computer generated. So I actually have to go in and adjust them, and so I go in and trace them so they become more lifelike, so to speak. Basically, every little nook and cranny, so to speak, every little creek and this is 200 square miles. So so I basically draw all of them. And I need to put shading in here just in case, so I see what I do. Yep, box office jack. Yep, almost a lot of it is by hand. So I need to kind of adjust it a bit. So I'm making them. I'm making sure that I get the natural variation and the precision, because sometimes I have a target, so it needs to go. And here, for instance, you have like there's like too much of a line here that looks, real terrain will not look that that looks to me way too computer generated. So yep. Yeah, it's hand cramping work. That's why I can only do this for like an hour or two, a couple hours a day, and then I need to do something else. So I vary a lot what I do. And I've also learned to not press too hard, but it is hand cramping work. So here we go. I'm not going to go all the way up. I think that's, no, I need to go all the way up because it goes all the way to this damn lake up there. So now I need to follow this one up here. So yeah. So I add a little wiggle room, and I make sure that the width vary and stuff, because the computer generated lines are, yeah, they're way too computer generated. So I need to, it's like when I see even animations on like nature shows on TV and stuff about geology and astronomy and stuff, I can literally tell what software they're using, and I can tell exactly what setting they use to create that terrain, and then it doesn't look real. So I want my terrain to go beyond just basic computer fractals and stuff. So here, for instance, you have like a straight line here, and then I introduce a little bit of wiggle and stuff, which means that the creek will look natural. Only
I want to call bullshit on that. I have not seen you wiggle even once.
So the
We've
only
been live for
man-made
like
ditches.
2 hours.
Yeah, man-made ditches will be that straight, not real creeks, so to speak. That's why I add a little bit of
I came here
there.
for the wiggles.
Yeah, thank you, Jaspender. Yep. Yeah, you came for the wiggles, but there's not much wiggle room here, so yeah.
Give the people what they want, Anna.
Yep.
Wiggle.
There we go. Then we have some lakes with bogs and stuff around them here. And then the last little stretch here up to this lake. Sometimes you can be lazy because I don't want... The World Machine also creates a lot of lake. It basically fills everything that could potentially potentially be a lake. It fills it to be a lake. So I need to remove a lot of lakes and create them bogs out of them, or just fill them with grass plains and stuff like that. So it's a lot of adjustment like that, because this is not a this is a slightly dry area, so it doesn't have that many lakes. It still has a lot of lakes. I'm going to remove a few more here. So this is a wet area, but not that wet. But this will be cool. When this is fully textured, it will look gorgeous.
So you can't tell it this much precipitation in this area and this much precipitation in that area?
Yes, it is. It can tell it to some degree, but World Machine is dumb, so it fills every little hole in the terrain with a lake. And then I have to go in and manually fill that hole and over plant it with grass or trees or whatever the texture is. And that means that, like here, for instance, I have the whole river valley is a long lake. And that meant that I have to paint in the river and then surround the river with grass. I'm going to add some marshlands and stuff around this, but right now I'm concentrating on getting the rivers in first. Here is a system. I need to get some rivers here. Let's see, which have I done here?
Your rivers are all wrong.
Yep, they're all yep, exactly, they are. That's why I have to go in and redo them a bit. So yep.
God, the river people.
Yep. Yeah, the Reni needs their creeks. But these aren't really rivers. These are just tiny little creeks that are 10, 15 feet wide. That one is like, each pixel here is 5 feet wide. So you can count. This one is 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 feet across. 25, 30 feet across. So this is a good D&D scale to work with. Each pixel is 5 feet. It's simple to...
So that's battle map scale.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's a very simple battle map because each square is only 1 pixel. So, but what I do is that I can take the final map of this, I can take an area, cut it out, and increase it 10 times the scale, and then I have a decent bat map. Not the most beautiful, but I have an accurate one of any part of my campaign map, so to speak. So I've done it for cities and towns and stuff. It works fairly well. It's quick. In 5 minutes, I can have a decent looking encounter map for any part of my terrain. My 2022 convention schedule has been GaryCon so far, and maybe will be PAX Unplugged. That might be a convention I might go to in, what is it, like December or late November, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only conventions I think that I will attend this year. There will be no... I was close to going to Gen Con, but that fell through due to finance. It was so expensive to fly and stuff, so it had to be cancelled, unfortunately, or I didn't get the tickets. So how about you, Alyssa? Are you going to any more conventions?
I'm going to Game Hall Con in October.
Yeah? Good.
Yeah. But I hear you on the expense. It's you know, people are like, are you going to Total Con? Are you going to Gary Con? Are you going to the, you know, Dragon Con? Are you going to this? Are you going? And it's like, dude, each one of those is at least $500 for a ticket to fly.
Yeah.
You've got at least the hotel, unless you're invited as a guest, and not always you are, of course. Then you've got the whole just being there, buying food
Oh
all of
yeah,
the
it's like
time.
$1,500, $2,000 to go to a
Right,
convention.
$1,500 to $2,000
Yeah.
each one you go to.
Yep.
So it's like, yeah, I would love to go to a convention every month. I genuinely would. I don't have $24,000 to throw away. I just don't have it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I used to go to like 6, 7 conventions a year, but that was thanks to I was working in booths and stuff. So I basically often I only
Yeah, if
paid
you can get it paid for, right?
exactly. I only
If
paid
someone
for
will
my
carry
airline
a this
ticket. That was it.
portion,
Yeah,
right,
exactly. I
right.
only paid for my airline ticket. That was it. And in some instances, I didn't even pay for that. So they covered all my expenses, and I went. That was how I could go to a convention every 2 months, and I've done that for a lot of years. But this year, I was thankfully I could go to GaryCon because most of that convention was covered too, thanks to very helpful friends in the Greyhawk community that helped me out. So that
We
was.
probably need to get you some more friends in the Greyhawk community.
Oh
Get you
yeah,
to
and yeah.
Gamehole.
So it looks like it will be a GaryCon next year too, because GaryCon used to be the most expensive convention for me to go to because it was airfare. You had to rent a car, you had to get a hotel, and stuff. So it was very expensive because when you fly, you can't fly to Lake Geneva, so you fly to Chicago or Milwaukee, and then you have to get there and stuff. So if you had to do all that by yourself on your own dime, that was horribly expensive. So yeah.
I imagine Gamehole is no different.
No,
It's
but Gamehole is
not
at least
much.
in Madison, you can fly into Madison. You don't have to rent a car. You can get a
I
taxi
guess.
or someone to because it's only a few miles from the airport to the
Yeah.
convention. It's not like an hour away or two.
I'm not doing any conventions
Yeah, I was going to
next
say you've
year.
been the big convention. How many conventions did you used to go when that was
I
the
used
big
to do
thing?
about a dozen a year.
Okay. Yeah.
And this year I've only done. Was GaryCon the only one I did this year so far?
Yeah.
No,
Did you do Dragon
GaryCon and
Con?
the GaryCon and MomoCon were the only ones I've done this year,
Momo.
and then DragonCon is coming up in a month exactly.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you're going to Dragon Con?
I am. Yes.
Okay.
That is likely to be my last convention ever as a vendor.
Okay. Yeah.
I
That's
am
kind of sad.
done. I did not re-up for. I was scheduled for Gamehole this year. I signed up, and they graciously allowed me a very very long grace period to cancel in, which I did.
Yeah.
And because I just decided I'm tired.
Yeah.
As a vendor, it's a different world for you.
Yeah, it's very
It is.
different.
Oh yeah,
I'm tired of
you're
it.
your own vendor, meaning you have to. Meaning I went there to work in other vendors, publishers' booths and stuff. So that meant that
Right.
I had to do a lot of hard work when you're there moving boxes and stuff. But that's the easy bit. I didn't have
Right.
to. I
Your
didn't have
risk.
to prep everything.
Right.
I didn't have to risk a lot of money, and
Right.
and I could just be there and work hard for 3 4 days. I didn't have
Yeah.
to plan a lot of
I'm
stuff.
done.
Yeah.
I'm tired of doing them.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the risk. I'm tired of travel.
Yeah.
Hours on because I can't. Flying to a convention if you're going to be a vendor with as much stuff as I have to bring is
Yes,
more
you have to.
difficult.
So you drove
So I
there?
just yeah.
Oh wow.
hmm
And Dragon Con, where is that?
Oh, DragonCon is here in Atlanta, so
Oh, okay.
I'm doing that. That should be easy.
Yeah.
And then actually, yeah, if for me to re-up for DragonCon, because DragonCon used to make I could make a lot of money,
Yeah.
but last year I lost money on DragonCon, which
Uh-oh.
takes a lot of doing.
Why do you think that was, Cafe?
Pandemic, I guess. I mean,
Yeah, like was it a low attendance?
It was yes. There were lots of people in the vendor hall. They were not buying. And one of the things that happens at DragonCon, the vendor hall is a completely different building. DragonCon is a strange convention.
It's a
not
bit
what
like
you, what you're
GaryCon
used
this
to.
year then.
So Oh no, complete like DragonCon takes over downtown Atlanta. So
Ah,
it's not a vendor hall, it's not one hotel or or one complex like GaryCon. It's literally just taken over downtown Atlanta, and there are several um, hotels involved. And the vendor halls, which are 4 floors of vendors,
oh
are
wow.
in a completely separate building
So
of
it's
from those
like,
hotels.
is it big as Gen Con almost in size, or
Probably. I
yeah?
guess so. And it's and I mean the gaming. Oh, so Lando, your Dragon Con RPG stuff, nice. Um, give me a shot. I don't know what you do. Send me a PM or something. I don't know what you do for Dragon Con for the RPG stuff. But even
Cool.
the gaming is an entirely separate building again for
Yeah. Oh
for
wow.
for Dragon Con. So what they used to do, there are a lot of people who go to Dragon Con and have been going for many, many years, who have only been to the vendor halls once,
Yeah.
right? They
Because
go on their first year and then they never go again. You know, and it's um still you got plenty of people who come. The vendor hall is busy. It's almost
hmm
shoulder to shoulder
yeah.
sometimes. But what they do allow now, you can't. The general public can't just buy a day pass to go into like the hotel or whatever, as far as I know. But they can go into the vendor hall, right? They can buy
Yeah.
a ticket to just get into the vendor hall. Last year, they did not allow that because of COVID and
Ah. Yeah.
occupancy
hmm
limits and things like that they
Yep.
wanted to maintain. They did not allow the general public to come in, which is usually Saturday, Sunday, and so people who would specifically go to DragonCon for the day to shop were not allowed to do that last year. So all we had were the convention goers who are there for 4 or 5 days. They may go to the vendor hall 2 or 3 times, but they're only going to buy once, right? If that makes
Yeah.
sense.
hmm
So, yeah, a lot of people were walking around, but they were not buying.
Yeah. That's
Show them the
sad.
Dragon Con map. I mean, it's not an accurate map. It's not a realistic map, but sure, I can do that. Let me see if I can find it.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So, yeah, it just people were just not buying, and a lot of people in the vendor hall, a lot of vendors that I know lost money, and it's a lot of money to lose.
Yeah.
Um, so for me to be able to sign up again, to feel good about it, because my booth cost me $3,000.
Hang on a second. I'll go to boost up. Here we
So
go. Yep.
3,000 is more than Gen Con.
yeah, I have a corner booth which is a 10 by 20, so it's big.
Oh,
Yeah.
so it's comparable, but that I feel like
Right.
still a little bit more. When I
Yeah.
did Gen Con, I feel like I spent $2,000 for a corner
Yeah.
20 by 10.
Yeah.
I'd love to go to Gen Con if Gen Con would let me in, but they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gen Con's got a whole different
I
problem
was just
going
going
on
to
for
say they've had
vendors.
a
Yeah.
short list for years, I think, or like a long waiting list or something. So, but I think COVID probably screwed that up or changed it a bit because now there's a lot of vendors who haven't been there. So now you can probably get in. Now there's might be easier to get a booth space, so to speak.
Oh, you haven't gone? You've not physically gone since 2010, so okay.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Um, yeah, that's the map. We made this actually during Virtual DragonCon of 2020 on my stream
Yeah.
with a bunch of DragonCon people, get goers, attendees.
Cool.
Hold on, just got a message from.
I love these rivers, the little creeks that goes through the landscape. Really
Yeah,
great.
except they don't exist in Atlanta. we just we just took, we wanted to turn it into a fantasy map, so otherwise it'd just be a boring grid. So we took some of the streets and made them into rivers, and
So
they obviously don't go in real life. They go in a straight line, not
yeah.
curving like this.
But is that an official map you did for DragonCon?
No, it wasn't official. This is the actually, that's a funny story, that I asked DragonCon for like 2 years before I made this. So 2018,
Yeah.
2019, I asked them, hey, do you want me to make a map of the convention? Let's talk. And they're like, just wringing their hands about it.
Mm-hmm.
Then finally, virtual Dragon Con. So I'm like, you know what? Let's make a map. Do it as an official. It was a Dragon Con stream sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, mostly to as an let's be fair, mostly to advertise my other maps. So we did this on the stream, right? And it's all from digital assets. I didn't initially create it in leather. It was made from digital assets that were made from leather
Oh,
assets
so
of
okay.
towers, trees.
So it's a bit
Yeah,
of a
so each
shortcut there. So yeah.
right, so each one of these trees and a bridge and all that, they were all originally created in the deer scan,
Uh-huh.
burned and painted the same way, then photographed, then I erase the background, turn
Mm-hmm.
them into PNGs, and then it's just drag and drop,
Ah, okay.
right? So, and then from those pieces, I had actually Miss J Maps. She helped create a whole bunch of other assets. So all of these castles are made from maybe a dozen separate elements that I created, and then she sort of manipulated things in Photoshop to create more. These vendor stalls here, if we zoom in on them, they are all created from butchered up, digitally butchered
Okay. But they
assets
look cool.
that were made in leather first.
Yeah.
So,
Looks
like all
awesome.
the upright poles, I made a little elongated brown thing,
Yeah, so
right?
that
And
one doesn't exist other than in digital form, so to
right,
speak.
exactly.
Okay, cool.
Um, so yeah, we made this, and then I asked DragonCon in 2020, 2021, like, hey, can I put the official DragonCon logo on the map? Because I made the compass this, right? The DragonCon colors are sort of a gold and purple
Yeah.
colors. So they're like, no, you can't. They didn't really say no, you can't. It was more like, oh, we don't have time to discuss it now. And I'm like,
Yeah. Hmm.
God, really? Just get over yourself. It's a literally a 30-second discussion. So
Yeah.
so they were again
They were
dragging their
stalling or
feet.
yeah. Hmm.
So I didn't put the official um, logo, which a lot of the fans were like, oh, it would be great to have the logo on it, right?
Yeah.
And so then at 2021, it was the first year I sold it in person as prints, and more people were saying, "Oh, this is great, and we'd love to have it, with the actual logo." So this year, DragonCon was coming out with their I don't know what they called it, exclusive DragonCon merch program where you could have your a product. If you're a vendor, you could submit products to be included in that, where you would be allowed to use official DragonCon
Hmm.
logo, and they would sort of advertise it, all of that, right? So I'm like, well, what more could you want from an actual DragonCon map that was created during DragonCon?
Yeah.
This is an easy sell. So I submitted it, and I got an email back that just made me angry. It made me laugh and angry at the same time, where they said, well, we see where you're going with this, and we like that, but could you change this and change that and add this and add that? And I'm like, no.
Why did you, they should have said that before when you started the project.
Like, this isn't like, this is a finished piece of art.
Yeah.
It was done literally with the input of DragonCon attendees. There are Easter eggs here that are just all no one would get ever unless they went to a specific DragonCon. Like in
Hmm.
which DragonCon was it? FedEx John, I think, was DragonCon 2019, I want to say,
Yeah.
where somewhere in one of the lobbies there was a FedEx store, and somebody stole the life-size FedEx man
Oh.
cutout that was there and put it somewhere else in the hotel, and that guy, FedEx John was his name, and he got that cutout got so many things drawn and stuck to it and hung from it. It was this cult following
Yeah.
that DragonCon, and for months afterwards, the memes were circulating. Like, it was amazing. And right in here, where is it? Right there
Yeah.
is FedEx John's face peeking from behind that castle, which is the Marriott Hotel.
Yeah.
Right? Why is this the Marriott Hotel? Because I don't have assets that look exactly like the Marriott Hotel, and I wasn't going to sit there and make
But it looks like a rib
specific.
cage. It looks awesome.
Right, it is.
Yeah.
It's a rib cage that I did create
Yeah.
before for my
Mm-hmm.
map asset packs, and the inside of the Marriott, if you've ever been to the Marriott in Atlanta, the inside looks like a rib cage.
Okay. No, I never been to
It's an
Marriott.
impressive hotel, but anyone
Cool.
that looks at it knows exactly what that's supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they came back with, can you change this and add that? And I
Oh,
said, no,
No,
it's a finished
no.
piece.
yeah.
Do you know? Do you know the medium that I work in? No,
Right.
no, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't, I'm not
Kafir,
spending.
you know what you should do if you have the original to this? Actually conspire to give it to the owner of DragonCon. Seriously.
But there
And
is
just,
no original because it's all digital.
Yeah.
oh, yeah, right, it's
Right.
all digital. I
But
would
in order
put
to
a
create,
version of this on canvas and give it to him
Yeah.
and just go here. And just because he will figure out from his people how much they fucked up.
Yeah.
it's and so then they came when and so I replied, no, I can't do that. I can't. I literally just don't have the time to sit and create.
That would be like
It'll take many hours of work.
Yeah, we'd be like redoing the map again, basically.
Right. And they're like, yeah, and the streets don't really match. Could you change that? I'm like, I'll have to redo it. This isn't
Yeah.
like other vendors taking some, a mug and splattering the logo on it, and now it's an official, exclusive product.
Yeah.
This is gonna take dozens of hours. I don't have the time for this.
Mm-hmm.
This was created with the input of your attendees, of your fans.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is that fact that I can't change it, a barrier to this? And I didn't get a reply until they finally sent out all the rejection and acceptance letters, and I was this was rejected as an official exclusive.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I'm like, whatever. It's funny that
Mm-hmm.
that it's like that. I'm
Yeah.
gonna sell them anyway. I don't have
Yeah.
any official DragonCon logos on it. It doesn't
Yeah,
say
exactly.
DragonCon
Then
on
you
it.
exactly. Then you can sell it, and people
Right.
who've been
So
there, they know. Yeah.
it's just ridiculous to
But
talk
it's
to an artist, and they know. And the person who did that is the vendor coordinator, so she should know better. So
Yeah.
I'm really surprised to tell an artist on a finished piece,
Mhm.
yeah, just could you change
Yeah.
the entire thing?
Yep. Oh. Okay.
Like,
So,
you want me
yeah.
to make you a map? Pay me the
Mhm.
$10,000 it would cost you to make me to have me make you a map.
Wow. Yep. So now I'm saving, and oh, it's
All right,
saved.
well, I am done with prints.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say we've done 2 hours and a little bit
Hello.
of minutes here. So let's yeah, make sure that people who want to ask a question or have something like that, they give a chance. So, and then it's time to wrap it up in a little bit here. So thank you everyone who came by and asked questions and gave us some cheers in the chat and stuff. That's awesome. So thank you. Yep. And it worked today. We only had 350 dropped frames tonight, so it seems like the stream had worked really well. So that is cool. So Alyssa, have you been able to do what you set out to do? You've done lots of little cool stuff there.
Oh yeah, I've gone way
Yeah.
beyond what I wanted to do.
Oh,
I
that's
wanted
awesome.
to fill in the interior of Womtham,
Yeah.
and I've got all of that done, and I've started working on the exterior.
Yeah.
I've got the sprawl to the east done,
Mm-hmm.
and I've started working on the farms to the
Yeah.
south.
That's cool. Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, today my goal today to do, if nothing else, was to get the hexed versions or preview versions of the 598 maps done, and I've got them done. But I can't sync them to Dropbox until after the stream because can't have that because that will kill off my bandwidth completely. So that's therefore I have to wait. So that will be something I will post on Patreon tomorrow. And then I'll get to work on other stuff too. So, and then there will be the Lord Gusumba special game tomorrow night at 4 p.m. Eastern, if I remember correctly. and with Ed Greenwood and Tony Winslow Brill and Eric Mengi and yeah, and really cool people. And there's Mark Meir, I think his name. He's a special guest on the game, and so on. So it will be a lot of fun. Those games are usually a lot of fun. So that will be tomorrow, and then I'll come back, and there will be a Lord Gesumba on Sunday, a Gabin again, and we will be back. I will be back next week, and we'll see if we get all three of us or not next week. But since it seems to be the stream seems to be working, so I will definitely try my best to be here next Friday too. So thank you everyone, and if you have more questions and stuff, reach out to me on Facebook or Twitter or something, or save your question for next week, so to speak. I'm going to post my links to my Patreon and stuff like that in chat here, so you have to my website and stuff like that. And the YouTube channel, there are previous episodes of and other stuff is there too. So okay. So any last shout outs, Alyssa or Kvir, anything you want to?
Nothing from me.
Okay.
No, thank you very much. It's been fun. I got some work done.
Okay. Yep. So see you next week or
See ya.
tomorrow. Yeah.